Shadow Fiend pick sort of salvaged their draft a little bit, because I think
10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds remaining.
And the Shadow Fiend, I think, gives Alliance a shot, but I think EPG is actually is Wisp. I think this Timbersaw is going to have a pretty rough time mid, but I think the Centaur and the Clinks will be in good enough positions to where the Timbersaw will be able to get a lane, catch up, and if the Timbersaw gets a lot of items this game, then it's not an easy kill by any means for Alliance. They're pretty low on, like, they don't have a lot of right clickers. They don't have a lot of ways to bring this Timbersaw. Once he has the Bloodstone, has a hood, a plate mail, then I don't know how really they take him down.
They're all about burst, is what it is. Of course.
Yeah, and I don't think the Timbersaw necessarily is like a great pick. This game, I think it's more about the fact that the Clinks will have a really nice time. The Centaur should have a nice time bottom, and they'll be able to make space and like let this Timbersaw catch up, because this time mid is not going to be fun. They're even doing the Shadow Fiend. You kill the cogs in the base, so SF is going to have 12, 15 souls coming to lane. So Timbersaw is going to get wrecked mid, and I think it's pretty important that they do well in their other lanes, which I think they will. And we talked about Alliance being a whole lot about bursting heroes, catching heroes, and like taking these quick fights where they're jumping in and starting the fight 4v5. And as this game goes a little bit later, you get the Aghanims on Centaur, and it can, it just totally changes the tide of everything, especially whenever you're playing this sort of all-any style. You have a Tiny, you have a Clockwork heroes that they go in, they have a hard time getting out. You've got a Centaur Ags can make the game very, very difficult for that style of play.
Yeah, the cogs all of a sudden become useless at that point, so definitely an issue to be concerned about, kind of almost a timing that, Alliance, you figure that ideally they're in a good spot before he gets that Ags, if he ends up getting it in the end. Last that long, that is. Definitely expecting to be an earlier game presence here from Alliance, and I had to double check real quickly while we were setting up for this game too, with the Dota buff after that draft. In the last 3 to 4 months here, Dota has not played a single game of Tiny. So, I mean, this is now, in his overall history, he's played Tiny in the past, like his whole time by all means. But, again, and recently with this roster, especially lately and everything, he has not played Tiny. So I'm not saying he's going to forget how to play the hero by any means, but it's interesting, seeing a player play a hero that he has not played in so long in a pretty significant matches we're talking about. So, but they felt necessary to do so.
Yeah.
Change there.
Yeah, Timbersaw actually getting the range group deny was pretty nice there, but this lane is gonna be it's gonna be so difficult. Come level 2, level 3, Shadow Fiend starts getting raises online, and he just hits for so much more damage than Timbersaw. It's gonna get very. The Shadow Fiend is gonna have a nice game here, which he needs to. This is a game where, like we talked about, Alliance wants to be ahead, and the SF is really their only tower hitter. So I think him having this good matchup mid is very important for Alliance. As Mitch may actually go down bottom.
Now he's going to barely live. He actually landed the hoof stop onto Skywrath, and that allows him to get the distance to run away, but man, was he close to dying right there. He's going to limp on over to the shrine, though, and that'll heal him on up. It's been kind of interesting, because Merlini's had the similar reactions, too, with the shrines, where it's almost like a sarcastic, like, hey, this game's easy.
I was laughing about the, he's going to limp on over.
Oh, see, I didn't even realize it made that connection. If Limp was actually the one limping on over, that would have been perfect. I'll save that for later. What do you think about Shrines? Do you think they're overall better for the game here?
Yeah, I think it makes snowballing in these games that are just over instantly from a good start. I think it sort of nerfs that a little bit. I think it makes the early game a little bit faster paced, which I think is a good thing. You aren't these heroes just always walking back to base, since they nerfed the suiciding, which for a while was sort of the means of making the game a little bit faster. Jonathan fan. He's taking a beating up top.
Yeah, he's doing his best to avoid death right here, obviously. He pops the cogs and gonna kind of get protection. Rolls on through, he avoids getting hit by it. And Clockwork gonna go around the trees. I mean, he's going to survive, actually. I was gonna say he still might not make it out, but yes, he will. Sidesteps, man.
Yeah, they've got a huge wave pushing under the tower. Clinks gets his clarity canceled as well. That's actually pretty bad for him. He does have the CM aura, so he's not going to run completely out of mana. But yeah, this is definitely a better start for the Clockwork than I think I had expected. Already up to level 3, the Clinks sitting at level 2. The supports doing all right for themselves, but
Unlucky find.
I think with the CM actually choosing not to go down to bottom because the Skywrath was going to commit there, and they can't really deal with the Skywrath constantly harassing, with the Tiny having a lot of bursts as well. So Alliance definitely doing you know, well enough in their lanes because they needed to have a good start as GEEK actually.
Could be a first blood coming out with that battery assault. The Cog's going to push back Earth Spirit initially. Spread some of that battery assault, so GEEK will end up dying though. A rocket to finish him off. First blood going out in favor of Jonathan Fan. Now he may end up dying. He's doing some side steps though. The Cog's coming out again.
No mana on Earth Spirit.
He's not going to escape again, is he? Come on.
Well, mana for roll in a second, but I think he's out of range.
Actually is going to live again. Jonathan Fan. He's juking and jiving, staying alive.
Yeah, it's actually pretty crazy. Now the SF is up to level 4 as well. The Timbersaw completely out of regen. Still is the Shrine, but not quite up to his bottle yet. Once the SF gets to level 5, you can see him just one right click. Chunks him down so much. It's gonna... This Timbersaw really doesn't have anywhere... It's gotten some XP now that some of the Alliance supports have rotated around a little bit. But Timbersaw is not really a hero that rotates very well. He likes to sit in his lane, he likes to farm up to the Bloodstone, and then maybe his hero, you know, the rest of his heroes can rotate to his lane, but that's not something that's likely to happen until he's maybe level 6. Again, you know, the Earth Spirit can roll and potentially get a kill in Shadow Feed, but until that point, he's just sort of stuck here, and it's going to get out-farmed almost definitely.
We saw at the bottom jungle area of the Radiant jungle right there. The Mitchell was trying to run away that whole time, and he got actually ended up caught by EGM on that Wisp. He hit those spirits and enough damage to help secure the kill as Skywrath finished his job with the concussive shot right there. So, well played as far as the chase goes, and getting that kill now 2-0 started. And meanwhile, yeah, Limp is just having, not Limp, expected to be Limp, but Loda is having free farm here at the bottom lane. He's got the full-on power treads, good to go. Is this get the Blink Dagger now next ASAP, especially with the Whisper? Go for you think?
Yeah, I think it could be the Blink Dagger. It could also be the Shadow Blade. We've seen some players go for the Shadow Blade first item. But I think Alliance, whenever Limp plays it, will typically go into the Blink and then to like Echo Saber, or the Blink, then into the Shadow Blade. But I think they almost always will go for the Blink first. And I think typically whenever you see these teams, then there's heroes that they'll switch between players. So a lot of times they will go for the same item build as like the usual player. Because you know, obviously I think similarly about the hero. I think the hero should do similar things. So I think he'll probably end up going for the Blink first. And I don't think any other items are glaringly good on Tiny anymore. You used to see drums, but drums have been changed quite a bit. It's not really an item we see a lot anymore, as it kind of just got replaced by HOD, which is, you know, once again, not an item Tiny really likes to buy. So I think going for the Blink first is something really he'd rather buy, as, you know, the Wisp has a bottle, like you said, so it doesn't really need any mana regen items either.
Marcel there in the middle lane, thank God he had a haster in, or Cole most likely would be dead right now, but manages to get away, as despite getting hit by both those rages, and Skywrath Mage coming in for the escape though. Use of that haster and wrap around from Skywrath Mage bottom lane. Centaur pushing up a little bit too far, and now he's just gonna get a vision down, never mind. Ward down, and yeah, Centaur obviously difficult to kill. Doesn't have Stampede just yet, he's almost level 6, but they're gonna maybe try right here. Out comes the stun setup from Loda. Vision seals up, and the concussive shot slowly but surely coming in to secure the kill.
Yeah, the Shadow Fiend last pick was absolutely huge. If they put Tiny mid, I don't think they would have been able to pressure this Timbersaw enough. He would have been able to get to his level 4, level 5, get the multiple points in reactive armor, just sort of sit mid, force the Tiny Wisp to be there, and they don't really get anything done. So I think the Shadow Fiend last pick is, like, actually done so much work for Alliance. So let the Skywrath Mage have plenty of space on the map as well. But Swift Ending actually TP's bot and brings down Loda.
Yeah, I mean, they got the tower kill right before that, and he did buy out, I believe, so... Is that the worst? I mean, I guess he didn't buy out fully, so he did lose a little bit of gold right there. But still, is that the worst case, worst thing ever? The fact that he died right there, I don't necessarily.
Yeah, I don't think it's that bad. I think Swift Ending did kind of want to rotate to bottom, though, because the top lane is going so poorly. Normally, as a Clink up top, pressure this blockwork, and shut him down, and then eventually take that top tower. Then you'd start rotating around. But now that he's ported down to bottom lane, and will probably be playing down here for quite some time, but it's very hard for them to just sort of walk up and take this tower because the Alliance have so much kill potential, so they can always wrap behind if EPG starts, you know, just walking up trying to hit the tower. Split Ending doesn't have too many things he can do right now.
Jonas and Batman makes a big play, gets another soul kill on the top lane, bottom lane. They're gonna get the kill on the Wisp. Make it out of there in time, and Loda Having to keep his distance right here. Does have that magic wand. Going to use the charges. Stun cooldown will be coming up in 4 seconds. You have the avalanche, but no opportunity to be had. With ending down here on that Clinks and gonna have a little bit more farm before he heads elsewhere.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
As his teammates will use that shrine, but yeah,
Radiant's
big kill by
bottom
Gentleman
tower
once
is
again
under
at the top
attack.
lane in the solo presence, and he has a 3,000 net worth
Dire's
right now.
middle tower
Not only
is
staying
under
alive,
attack.
but getting kills, and safe to say he's having a very successful game at a 2-0-1 record so far. And Hookshot is gonna be coming off cooldown in 20 seconds now.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be going for the Midas again this game. We've seen Jonathan Fan play mostly Clockwork and Nick, so I think on both of those heroes, he tends to go for a Midas. Either first item or second item. On these more space-making heroes, they have issues farming. Seems to like the Midas to give him a little bit more late-game presence as the game goes on and on. As Limp and Loda tend to be pretty...
Starting a fight right here. The Rage is falling, but definitely starting a fight as the hookshot lands on the Centaur. Stampede on cooldown still. And look at that, the poor man's blink dagger, as I like to call it, tossing him in. And Goki is going to end up dying as a result. So 6-2 lead now for Alliance. Chasing him down in the background. We're not done just yet, though. Swift ending. He gets one pick. He wants another. Those Heroes, plenty of damage. Not enough to take him out, though. Lip actually picks up a double kill elsewhere as he does take out Timbersaw. Another use of the poor man's blink dagger. Trying to get away is Swift ending. Not going to be enough, though. Skeleton Walk can't save him. He gets brought down. Another toss in, and down goes Earth Spirit. These tosses are just doing work here from the Tiny.
Yeah, and I think this is where EPG has to start to worry. They're only level 4 in the Earth Spirit because this top lane went so poorly or did not go according to plan. The Centaur isn't even close to Blink or Hood. I'll probably have to go Blink first in this game to give them any chance of fighting, but now that Alliance have done so well in their lanes, they're going to probably start 5-manning down these towers. They've gotten up their other lanes out. Limp farms a couple of jungle camps, already has the Dragonlance completed. And I think they're going to look to take this mid tower. I don't know if EPG really has a response. They can try and stall it up a little bit. But with the Timbersaw being as poor as he is, only level 4 on the Earth Spirit, so not having access to the Magnetize, I don't know if EPG really has a response.
Radiant's
Swift
bottom
ending on
tower
Clinks.
is
He's
under
trying
attack.
to get that Desolator, which
Dire's
again, we've
middle
already
Oh my
seen
God.
what he does. How did he know? He just randomly does right there. Feels like obviously something gave it away. Some sort of information, and they end up being right. They hit the hook shot right away, and down goes the Clinks. Just as I'm trying to suggest at least he has something coming there.
Dire's structures
I
are
think he read the CM's movement. I think he was looking at the Crystal Main. He was walking back on the fourth end of the hill, and the CM was walking back and forth as well.
Okay.
And I just figured the Clinks had vision of him. Got a little bit lucky that the Clinks wasn't a little farther away and barely caught him in the range of those. So really nice read from Jonas. They didn't have vision.
And he's going to be hogged up as their Spirit trapped in the midst of it, TPing in. Not the decision you want to be making there. His teammates just have to run away because they couldn't really get in a spot to obviously save him, let alone trying to fight. And they can't be taking fights right now. That is the lead that they have, if anything. Yeah, I mean, you were talking about earlier, you know, what can they do to really calm things down and come back in this game? Clinks getting that Desolator, of course, is going to help, but even when he does, they just have so much catch. He's still going to be very vulnerable to being turned on right away.
Yeah, he needed to have a better start. This top lane went so poorly. That whole exchange where they missed the roll, the Clockwork lived. In the meanwhile, he was getting all that XP from the creeps dying, and then he was able to get the solo kill as well. It opened up so much space for him. And after that, he was like level 4. The Clinks really isn't able to zone him anymore because there's a threat that he can walk up, cogs him in, and potentially solo kill this Clinks really early on. So the Clinks didn't get as much as he wanted. They weren't able to get this top tower, which you really want to do with these heroes like Clinks, Juggernaut, that have these innate pushing mechanisms. Searing Arrows, the Healing Ward. If you aren't able to take that top tower, this Clockwork holds it. It gives him so many ways he can move around the map. And, you know, the Timbersaw we knew was going to lose mid. The Skywrath committed himself to bottom to pressure the Centaur, make sure he doesn't get a quick blink. And Alliance just winning all 3 lanes like that. That's exactly what they needed. In EPG's lineup, they have a lot of fighting heroes, a lot of heroes that are pretty good at defending towers just by jumping on Alliance before they can jump them. But whenever you're behind like this, they just die so quickly. The Shadow Fiend up to 1400 HP with the Treads and the Dragonlance. It's very, very hard to bring any of Alliance down.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like they need a lot of items to be doing decent damage on the side of EPG as they're kind of getting at there, but even with the levels, I mean, you look at the experience lead, it's about a 4,000 experience lead right now in favor of Alliance, nearly a 6,000 net worth. So having those items definitely help, and yeah, even that's much slightly more ahead
Dire's top
of the
tower
overall
is
level
under
2. And this
attack.
Shadow Phoenix, level 12.
Dire's
Got that Dragon
structures
Lance
are
pushing in now,
fortified.
trying to finish a Manta style. The Yasha has even been completed. You look at Tiny, and of course he has that Blink Dagger.
Dire's
And
top
the Whisper
tower
here in the
has
middle lane.
fallen.
He's going to just farm a little bit out, and he has the Wisp nearby. Worst case if they do jump in, but not going to be happening. Instead, APG, they're roaming through the Radiant jungle, but their tier 2 is going to be pushed top in the meantime. So obviously they're hunting for some kind of kill. Not going
Dire's
to get
top
it though.
tower is under
Will they
attack.
protect it? I just don't think that they want to be fighting right now. It's pretty evident. So.
Yeah, they don't have the option to fight. They would really like to. They'd like to be able to defend these towers, but the SF is just too farmed at this point. Already having Dragonlance, Yasha. He's very, very tanky. Getting close to the level 15, so we'll have that HP Talon as well, so we're going to
Dire's
buff
top
up even
tower
more.
has fallen.
The Klink's not having a Dragonlance, not having a Deso. They're really just so short on items. The Timbersaw, if he tries to walk up to defend his towers, like you normally see Timbersaws
Radiant's middle
do, they
tower
walk up
is under
right in front of the
attack.
tower and they just sort of stand there. He can't do that. They all just die so quickly in EPG, and still not having the Blink Dagger on Centaur either. They really don't have a way to start the fight except for Earthquake rolling in. It's very inconsistent.
Jonas the fan just keeping the hook shots coming. And Mystic Flare to really finish the job. It's not even necessary, but wanted to help get that kill quickly. Limp actually even credit for the kill, landing a raise there. Yes, to secure the job. So nice find on a Crystal Maiden. Again, obviously Clockwork. Jonas the fan has pretty much been the MVP so far for his team, but definitely overall a great team effort. You got the Bottle of the Urine on a Wisp. You know, and actually something I've seen some Wisp players do, I think it was Z-Freak actually recently. Middle lane, Loda, he was going to sidestep initially, he couldn't get the save though. From Wisp, not enough of a heal. Swift ending tears through him. Does he have the Desolator? Not even yet, so that was just simply the Searing Arrows and the Strafe damage. But that's a big pick. Obviously, that's a start for calming things down if you're EPG.
Yeah, that was a really nice read from Swift Ending. Knowing that, you know, the bottom lane had just
Dire's
pushed in,
middle
they're going to
tower
run through the
is under
jungle. They had
attack.
this nice deep ward here, so they saw them running over. He knew it was just going to be a matter of time before they got there. So using that 3-4 seconds before the rest of Alliance got there, he gets that key pick off. And if they didn't do that, then they definitely would have just marched down
Radiant's
to
top tower
the mid
is
tier
under
2 or
attack.
even Roshan, which they are doing now. So sort of just delaying the inevitable. But off of that pick off, we'll have his Desolator before too long. But I don't know if they can contest this Roshan. It's basically free
Radiant's
for
top
Alliance.
tower
And even
is
though they
under
give up that
attack.
kill, a nice play from Swift Ending there, still in a very, very dominant position on Alliance.
That's how I was getting there with the Wisp. Kind of a fun item.
Roshan has fallen to the
More
Radiant.
luxury, sure, but it's something like an Arblet even on
They didn't
Wisp.
pick up the Aegis. The Aegis is in Roche. What's happening?
Radiant's bottom tower
guys.
is
Dude,
under
Clinks, go
attack.
get it, dude.
Guys, I mean, obviously you're aware, like, Alliance?
They forgot. Oh, is
They
he realizing?
realized.
They realized.
Dire's middle tower is
Look
under
at them blink
attack.
back. Like,
Go get him!
Ah, crap, hope he didn't take it. Yeah, no. They're gonna get it. Okay,
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Alliance,
attack.
that's one we can have fun with, because they are doing so well. But yeah, an Arblet on Wisp sounds kind of interesting, and I've kind of seen that a couple times before. Is that something potentially could be good here, you think? Or?
Team.
Dire's
And it was a
middle
game where the
tower
mech
is under
wasn't really going to be
attack.
that great, but I think most games just getting a casual buckler or building into the mech ends up being better. And I think mech would probably be better this game, as EPG is kind of relying on bursting heroes like the Centaur, jump on one specific hero, the Earth Spirit using all of his damage, Kimber all of his damage, and
Radiant's
just killing a
bottom
hero.
tower is under attack.
You know, the Clinks as well, because I don't think they really have any other options. So I think the Wisp is more concerned about the rest of his team being alive rather than himself, because he shouldn't be in a position to get jumped anyway.
Speaking of getting jumped, Earth Spirit, he's trying to make his way out of here. That's not going to work though. Hook shot. Did this several times before. There comes the top. And Loda's playing some, shooting some hoops this game. Basketball. Teammates around left and right and set up kills with it. So this Earth Spirit has been caught several times. Sporting cast in general. And Jonas Fan, how many assists does he have? He's 3-0-8. So he's been involved in 11 of the 13 kills this game.
Yeah, they're just going to march down to bottom. Alliance knows that EPG really just cannot fight them, especially with this Aegis. Maybe if they didn't have that, they could try and blow up this SF before he gets relocated out of the front.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Until that Aegis wears off, they just have free access to taking down the rest of these tier 2s, and EPG really don't have a response. They're going to look for any stragglers they can find around the map. They have some nice deep wards. The warding is really good. This triangle here, the wards down here looking for any heroes straggling off, but so far haven't been able to find
is
it.
under attack.
Relocate in. Speaking of finding something, they find Timbersaw. And he trying to timber train away just in time, but he still gets caught. You have the distance there. Skeleton Clock, though, popped up for Blinks. Putting in some right clicks into Tiny with that Desolator now. Stampede, but I don't think that would have really saved the Timbersaw, though. At that point, he gets caught, and again, Clockwork, if anything, you got to figure probably would have caught him if they tried to attempt to flee right there aggressively. So, nice pickoff yet again. And actually, speaking of Clockwork, what does he have? I mean, he went the Hand of Midas as you're talking about. Now he's going to be picking up that Blade Mail line, but really ramp up that farm. The extra mana here with the Talent Tree, but Shadow Fiend, Manta Style to go right into the Butterfly.
Yeah, they're just looking to end the game as soon as possible. Timbersaw and Clinks are not cores that play very well from behind. They're all about having a nice landing stage and snowballing off of that good landing stage. And Timber, only has the Hood, the Arcane's Boots, Soul Ring. Is just not at that super tanky stage where Alliance starts having issues killing him. He's just a piece of paper. He can't play up in these fights. And if you're not able to do that, then Alliance does this. They walk up to your high ground, and what response do they have? They can try and kick, slow it down with whatever spam they have, but they don't really have any way to jump
Radiant's
the
bottom
kill
tower is under attack.
with the Aegis.
Yeah, especially
Radiant
with the Aegis,
structures
exactly.
are fortified.
If anything, they got the initial strafe, and Clink's getting in it with a big auto attack if he just happens to be standing there with no support, but that's just not the case. So
Radiant's bottom tower
Lions are ready
has
to go.
fallen.
They're being patient as expected. The
structures
fortification
are
is being
fortified.
forced out there. And gonna reset and probably go finish off the tier 3. We've seen this a lot of the matches. Again, I've only got some advice to think, but they basically get the tier 3 as bottom lane. What's going on down here? They're killing a Clockwork first. They get the turn kill though on the Clinks. And then over here, Tiny is still picked up. So, okay, a couple of different fights taking place. I didn't even realize that middle fight or the bottom lane was even going on.
Most probably going to go down. Waste that, there's almost no way he lives. And yeah, should get stomped after this wears off. He's definitely going down. But yeah, I think it was a little bit of a miscommunication. Jonas and Fan wanted to TP bottom and kill the Clink, so he was split pushing that bottom tower. He didn't actually have a dust on him, so hooked in, and then the Clinks just sort of sat there and right-clicked him, hadn't picked up the Blade Mail yet either, so Clinks gets a nice kill there as well as getting the tower, so getting a little bit closer to his BKB, and in the meanwhile, EPG taking advantage of that and jumping the rest of the Alliance heroes. I think brought down Loda as well as the Skyrath Mage, so yeah. Pretty nice turn for EPG and a little bit of miscommunication. Alliance sort of trying a whole lot of things at once. The relocate came in very, very late because EPG saw that the Clockwork TP bottom, so they immediately stormed at them. They weren't able to relocate bottom whenever they wanted to. A combination of maybe Alliance misplaying slightly and EPG also taking advantage of these really small opportunities like we saw around the mid-tier 1 whenever Swift ending up for that quick kill.
And despite that miscue, I mean, Alliance still is in a very good spot. And kind of going back to the point, they've been really good at killing that tier 3 tower, then resetting and then getting the shrines ASAP. But obviously that's kind of stalled right there as the tier 3 stays alive due to that distraction at the bottom lane. But gonna reset now as they do make their way back to the top lane. And even without the Aegis, probably feel pretty comfortable. In fact, Limp is trying to finish off the farm for the Butterfly here. Yeah, so go purchased up here. Then you're going to pick on a Wisp, but what cost down further the Clinks. He's got to that Mystic Flare, did a lot of damage on him with the Ancient Seal up. He's going to be locked down. Sentry's there as well, so no way for him to get out with those cogs in place. He got Center finally activated the Stampede a little bit later on. We'll have the retreat option successful for his teammates.
Oh boy, Crystal Mid. In the wrong neighborhood.
That is just poking the bear right there.
Alright, he actually lives.
Somehow does live.
Yeah, they get a couple of kills. I think they're gonna try and pressure the high ground though. With the Clinks dead, they really just don't have the damage to bring anyone down. Limp's Aegis is down, so Centaur may try and stomp, slow things down a little bit. Has the Hood as well, so won't die too quickly to the Chinese burst. You can see Limp is a little cautious. But Hanskin does relocate in with the Skyrath, so the whole full 5 here for about 10 seconds.
And there we go. There's the tier 3. IO, don't think they're gonna burst him. Yeah, talking about poking the bear. That bear woke up and slashed his face off.
Yeah, a little, over sense a little bit, I think maybe misclicked onto the high ground. Tried to Glimmer Cape away, but does go down. Not the biggest of deals, just a Wisp. Already has his Glimmer Cape, so they didn't really lose any gold there, but they still get the Shrine. Actually, no, they don't. They bring it out to about half HP, and they back off, scared that DPG was potentially running at them, which they did actually smoke up, so I think it was a high probability But I think they're just going to try and finish off the BKB on Swift Ending, look for whatever kills they can while Alliance is split up before they group back up and wait for the next Aegis, because I think once, you know, Limp gets the BKB, has next Aegis, I don't really know if there's a way EPG can stop them from going on the high ground, so they need to play around, you know, that not happening, try and split Alliance across the map, find random skirmishy fights, these scrappy fights, you know, look to jump in, kill multiple heroes, get out, go back in. If they can do that, then I think EPG has a chance, but they need the BKB on Swift Ending, or they need these fights to go very, very well, at least the start of them, for EPG to take a fight and punish that window where Alliance doesn't have the BKB, they don't have that Aegis.
Speaking of that BKB on Clanks, he really just about has it. He should have it before another fight breaks out here. Only needs the pattern, but they are going to lose that top shrine in the meanwhile, and so Alliance makes their way up there and takes it out. Another going towards the bottom, using the smoke actually. Run through this observer ward, so not going to be scouted out, and this could be something here, EPG. Will they get caught before Swift Ending? Earth Spirit going to be the one that's jumped, but he barrels
Is under
away.
attack.
They kill the neutral grid, but the hook shot will land on Earth Spirit. He goes for the push out. Missing Flare helping to finish the job, though. But you know what? That being the only victim, EGM, they got to be pretty overall happy with that.
Yeah, I don't think they're too settled. I really think EPG wanted to find a good fight there. They all sort of just walked up as 5 though on Alliance, and unless EPG is jumping the Wisp, they're jumping the Skyra at these super squishy supports, then it's kind of hard for them to take the fight. The Shadow Fiend just stands up at the front. The Tiny is pretty tanky. Now he can be kited around and brought down for sure, as he doesn't have any armor items yet. It's only, you know, 8-9 armor on him. Is very, very susceptible to the Klink's Deso, the Timbersaw burst damage, but as long as the Shadow Fiend is in front, then EPG really doesn't have a way to bring Alliance down. And I think they still need to find that pick-off. They need to find that scrappy fight. If they don't, then it's just a matter of time before Alliance gets the BKB, they get the Aegis, and then it becomes very, very hard for this underfarmed EPG cores.
1,000 net worth lead right now for Alliance. Clockwork and that Blade Mill at 2150 gold saving job, so that Hannah Midas is definitely paying off quite a bit. Tiny with the Ags, of course, really hasn't been able to make the most use of it, though, yet. But then, go for that kill it up when he got him. There's bottom lane, Centaur. He jumps me on the top side, the Cogs trapping him, Instant clears down, and there's the relocated. So definitely guarantee that kill. So Wisp is probably just going to relocate back himself, maybe. But get the kill on a Centaur, and Wisp will be fine in that jungler.
Yeah, you can see immediately after that, EPG storm down to this bottom lane. The potential pickups they can get, but EGM sniffs really what they want. That's their way back into this game, is finding these pickoffs, and they're not going to give it to them. Alliance is actually going to force EPG back to the high ground. I don't think they're going to commit. They may just chip a little bit away at it. They have the BKB and ESO, so they can potentially full commit if EPG isn't set up. They're getting here, though, but a little bit late. Maybe lose the range racks.
That's at least going to be the range rack, so definitely for sure.
Dyer's top barracks has fallen.
Of course, not up on a Shadow Fiend currently, so they don't want to commit too crazy like. Speaking of that, though, Roshan to be up here in the very near future, and Alliance aware of that, of course. They are going to make their way back, and the range rack's about 20 right now. Reset, probably go for another Roshan, hopefully this time pick up the Aegis. Use of it right away, or have that presence at least. But Roshan is up. Presence.
Yeah, there was a really... what, the 50% lifesteal over the 2 damage per soul? What? Is that a misclick?
Oh, you're right. Yeah, I've heard a lot of hype about that for good reason. That's such damaging. That is there any logic?
I mean, maybe he doesn't want to get Satanic, but Satanic is so good this game. It's just a good item now in general, and you really want to buy it on SF. Maybe he misclicked. I don't know. But I've never seen someone take the lifesteal before. That's crazy.
Yeah, he's only 9k.
Yeah, he's 9k, so he either misclicked or he knows something we don't.
What are they doing? Alright, he's on that Roshan trying to finish it off, but they do not want to let this go easy. The Stampede activated. Wisp did pick up in the back row, run away. Tiny's locked out as well at the Magnetizer, but it's a good damage. But Limp is able to sit there right clicking, and Swift Ending, he is feeling the pain as a result. He will survive barely. LeBron Dota, not so much. Freezing Shield's going to be your alteration before he gets executed by the Shadow Fiend, and they did pick off Clinks in the background. Looks like EGM actually finishes them off with the Fears, if anything. And then Limp will finish off and get the Aegis on top of that. So sloppier fight, kind of, but a 3 for 3. I guess the buyback on a Wisp was used to actually get that kill. So really the numbers for EPG, but Limp, he's the one that wins.
Yeah, they just don't have answers for the Shadow Fiend. That was exactly the kind of fight that EPG wanted, though. It was extremely chaotic. There was stuff going around all over the place, and Magnetize put in a lot of work. And the Clink's blowing up one target at a time. That was like the optimal fight for EPG. Limp is just so farmed. Has the Hurricane Pike now as well. So much HP, the evasion, putting in massive work. The Clink's it'll be so long before he has an MKB. Whenever you're behind like this on a Clinks, you like to buy tiny items, get like a small crit and a Dragon Lance here and there. Just try and like bump up your damage wherever you can so you can actually kill these squishier heroes. But not able to do that, is forced to go for the MKB, so it's going to be some time before he has that. Until then, Shadow Fiend is so strong, and they're definitely going to march towards the high ground. They want to end with this Aegis. They know that if the game goes longer and longer and longer, the Wisp and Scarith are going to start to have considerably less impact. The Clockwork as well is not a offlaner that scales incredibly well into the late game compared to someone like a Centaur who has the Ags now. So EPG has a shot to defend this high ground, but Alliance is definitely very confident pushing up the hill.
Yeah, that Axe definitely going to be a game changer. The 60% damage reduction and running over everything as well, including those cogs as we talked about. So definitely could be pretty huge right here. Centaur initiates with the hoof stomp. Then the Aegis though is going to fade out of BKB or just some sort of reaction. Not going to really be happening though. Melee Rax taking the right click now front left on the shock rim. It's dealing plenty of damage in return. The fortification is popped. In the background, Clinks is going for the quick pick on the Scarith. Scarith pulling and falling, but at one cost for Swift ending. He pops his own BKB. He's on the run. Rockwave of Souls goes off in the background, but they're not even caring about
Oh my goodness.
They want the supporting cast. They're going to get the supporting cast. Tiny's also going to fall right here, looks like. As Clinks will finish him off, and now it's a Shadow Fiend versus Arrest.
Stranded.
He is stranded, but I mean, he does have plenty of damage. He has an Aegis, but yeah, Timbersaw doesn't really care.
He's going to get kited. He may go down again. This is so good from EPG. They played that fight so well.
Chakram on top, Force Staff forward. They find him though. He's going for the auto attacks. He splits up with the Mantle Stalk, going for the quick turn kill, but no, it's not going to happen. The explosion doesn't take anyone with him.
5 for 1.
5 for 1, and as you said, very well fought by EP. The chaotic fights are clearly benefiting them.
Yeah, they did exactly what they needed to do. Swift Ending goes behind, he blows up these squishy supports, and they continue to just create chaos. Alliance's heroes, they want the Shadow Fiend in front, they want the supports behind, and they want to just let him hit away and have no. Stomp jumps in, stomps him. Earth Spirit, can go in and throw some stuns, but they can't actually focus this SF, so instead they make a very, very smart play, go behind, and the Clinks kills the two supports immediately, both within the strafe duration. They aren't able to kite or get away. They pop the dust. I think the Earth Spirit had it whenever he rolled in, so dust pulls him up. And whenever both the supports die like that, they kill Loda as well, who just has the plate mill right now, no BKB, so the Earth Spirit silenced him up, then stunned him immediately after and perfectly changed his spells, and they did exactly what they needed to. They leave Limp for last, the big beefy hero, but whenever he's stranded like that, the rest of his team is dead, doesn't have the heroes to back him up. He could just get kited like we saw. Dies twice to lose the Aegis and the high ground push. That was the timing Alliance was looking for.
Radiant's middle
If
tower
you're Loda right here, as they're going to have to put the first tower against the kill lane. Timbersaw is going deep. Okay, looks like a 2 over top of it now. He's good though. He is tanked up quite a bit. The cogs went out, the Stampede actually activated. And it's Clockwork. Don't want to win with him, so nobody died from after that. Stampede being on cooldown. If you're Alliance, you wouldn't mind taking a fight at this point, but not going to get any chance. CPG falls back as a team, so they didn't get the tier 1 tower. But that's what's going back to with Loda here on Tiny. These last couple of fights, he really hasn't even been able to use agents. I mean, he's had this log now for a while in his hand, and he's not able to hit any heroes with it because he just keeps either getting kited or locked down with the Roshan and at that top lane. Would BKB help? I mean, is that going to be a tool that you think about getting?
Yeah, he'll have to get one eventually. Probably go for the BKB after the AC, but it's sort of how the Tiny works just as a hero. If you're not snowballing, if you're not jumping in, blowing up heroes yourself, then he just doesn't really... Just barely out of range with the hook.
Yeah.
Has Ags on, some fun as well, so he's definitely very farm. But yeah, on the Tiny, it's not a hero that really does well against the Clinks. He's obviously a ranged hero, so he doesn't care about the Craggy. They have the Centaur ult to counteract some of that jump, so they really are dependent on Limp getting super farmed, standing on the front lines, and hitting these buildings, but they kind of missed that window. They lost the Aegis. EPG played that high ground fight beautifully, and now they have the Shivas up on Cole. He's not this super squishy hero who can stand up in the front like we talked about. And they're really hitting their timings. They're coming into their own, finding a few key pickoffs here and there, utilizing some very nice timings, and especially that Roche fight. Getting the 3 for 3 was sort of a sign to come that EPG have potential to win these fights. They execute the top fight really well, and now they're back in a position where they have a very good shot at winning this game. As Shadow Fiend is not the greatest late game hero ever, and Clinkz is getting close to that MKB as well.
Yeah, when it comes to scaling, exactly, it feels like, I'm glad you kind of reiterate that because I was going to suggest that earlier too, that Shadow Fiend, he's great for the mid-game presence as he is here, but he will start to taper off a little bit, it feels like, and you got Loda on Tiny. I know the hero, you know, with an axe and everything can be pretty threatening in AC, but again, we've seen his presence so far in this game. It's frankly been pretty minimal as far as being able to be quite the damage dealer that they perhaps are missing out. You almost look back at that talent choice by Shadow Fiend that you talked about. I mean, we're in the pause now, but that level 20 talent, we've seen pretty much every Shadow Fiend go that +2 damage results. It's what, do the math, it's like plus 72 damage, I think I heard it was, so he's missing out on 72 damage for the sake of having that 15% lifesteal instead, but it's that in hindsight now especially, I mean, you think of what happened that fight at the top lane, he was kind of sitting there auto-attacking, but not enough to finish anyone off, actually.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's so much. I mean, I think the damage would have been better. But I think more the issue is, you know, it's just Alliance lineup. I think they played the early game extremely well. They got the kind of lanes they needed, but whenever you're playing a lineup with Skywrath and Wisp supports, you're always at risk of getting to this point where you aren't able to protect them anymore. The Shadow Fiend isn't dealing out the amount of damage he needs to just start 2-3-shotting everyone, so they can't actually run past him towards the supports. They had the really nice wrap. The supports go down, and it's gonna start to get worse and worse. As Skywrath, he's nowhere near a Ghost Scepter. He's going for drums, so you know, until he gets to a Ghost Scepter eventually, he's just going to continue to die like that. The Wisp is going for Vlad's, so going for more of a team item. The armor will help everybody a little bit, but he's still going to die in 3-4 shots, especially with the MKB coming up now.
Skywrath made you mentioned going the drums right here. Hanskin, actually, he is known for going drums quite a bit, I feel like. As far as any player that I've watched, he probably goes drums more than anyone, which is saying a lot because really no one actually goes drums outside of him from what I've witnessed at least. And I've always kind of valued the item, but if you're going to get drums too, though, I feel like in the earlier game, that's where it's going to have its impact. But not that it won't have impact later on here, but yeah.
Don't question mark, lol.
What are we waiting for? I assume we're going to resume here. And they did say 1 minute. Has been more than a minute, to be fair.
Toilet. Uh-oh.
But
question mark? Whoa, Alliance, they want to get this game underway. Maybe they're feeling the pressure a little bit.
Oh, yeah, you think? Yeah, no, this is one of these games. I know APG, they're also, again, they're in a decent spot. You mentioned they defeated NIP earlier today, and they're 3-2 now coming into this. But on the other side, Alliance, they got a lot of praise for the first day. They played all their tough matches, you could argue, in that first day, and they went 4-1, so setting up to be in prime spot here. But here they are now, day 2, and it's that they're starting with a struggle, this being their first match of the day. So probably a little bit of frustration definitely coming in. It's still anyone's game at this point, no doubt. I mean, you do see the net worth chart, though. It's definitely dipped down in favor of EPG. But the MKB now has been delivered to Clinkz. So you thought he was doing plenty of damage before, and now he's doing more. And, of course, the evasion no longer an issue.
Yeah, and I also really like what they're doing. LeBron picked up the HOD actually first item, and he's just taking control of creeps and just M-clicking them onto the Clinkz, so he can always dark pack them and get the maximum HP and damage boost possible. It's actually a pretty cool interaction. You can also have it at the very beginning of fight, so it doesn't have to run over and get a creep all the time. Makes their movements a lot more streamlined. And just in general, it's just kind of a cool interaction. Eats it up there, and now it's 2,600 HP. It's so hard to kill with the PCB.
That's a really good point. It's fun things like that. Again, it's such a, not the most popular hero, it's kind of just a fun combination, and I'm glad you pointed that out, because it seems like a very powerful tactic, actually, and actually Tiny getting caught
He has Ags.
Limber Cape, he does have the Axe, double chakram as a result. Now he's going to be relocated, not far, but close enough to the shrine. And he wants to go back in, however, now the home stop will hit it first, and Loda has yet to do a damn thing, frankly, in this fight. He's just being kited every which way. Now they're going to turn their attention down here. Speaking of the chaos, they want to keep that chaos going. Clockwork's going to end up going down. And back over here, however, you got Shadow holding his ground. Yeah, their kiting is real, though. They're trying to kite around the shrine, but obviously that's down now. Now Loda, again, going to get caught out. The Glimmer Cape not going to be enough this time around. And Loda, no, he is going to fall in the end. So Wisp is like, I can't save you anymore. Relocates on cooldown. That's 2 pickoffs. Clockwork doesn't even have a buyback, actually.
Tier 2 here. They can potentially walk up to the top lane, get the Tier 1 as well afterwards. EPG is playing these fights really well, and you can see this Tiny just start to fall off. Got the Aghanims at a pretty decent clip. They're getting kills left, right, and center. They're taking all the map control, but you know, hasn't really progressed any past that at all. The Centaur almost above him in net worth, the Clink several thousand above as well as the Timbersaw, and the Shadow Fiend is not a hero that can play 1v5. He's gonna get kited if his supporting cast isn't able to really do that much, and that ends up what's happening. The EPG cores just storming at them, and they don't have the damage to bring them down.
Yes, you can definitely appreciate, you know, good Dota play and EGP right now. That is definitely playing good Dota. EGM, he's playing no.
Do you think he's playing good Dota?
he's playing fine. I wasn't meant to be a slide on him.
Alright. I see.
He's not making these star plays necessarily. That we've seen from him in the past, but see what I did there. I praised him, but at the same time, you know, facts are facts. This game.
It is a whiff. You can't. It's not like a super flashy hero, especially with this kind of a lineup. His kind of job is just to like click Q and then click limp and then press E and maybe press R.
Yeah, he's had a couple of relocates that have saved the day, including that last one initially, but obviously still in the end tiny. Too much damage, too much lockdown. Like I'm making a comment, he wasn't doing a damn thing. Well, I mean, he was just CC that whole time. That's why he's like a puppet of the other team. Speaking of Kai, you mentioned with Shadow Fiend, I mean, Tiny's dealing with that just as much, if not more. And we talked about BKB, but he's still trying to finish that AC as he wants to get that final Hyperstone before to getting, and then the buyback on top of that. So even if he manages to get a BKB here, it's going to be still quite a ways away.
Yeah, and I think we talked about the SF being very good versus the Timbersaw in lane, but that matchup shifts back the other way once this Timbersaw gets to the point where he starts getting some of these tanky items. He has the Shivas now, he has the Ags, he has a lot of HP, a lot of armor, and now going for the Octarine next as well. The SF is basically 6-slot at this point. He doesn't really want to swap any of these items out. Can maybe like swap the Satanic for the Manta or something like that, but it's not going to increase his damage really that much dramatically. And you can see the Timbersaw, he just walked up the high ground. The SF was beating him before he had any reactive armor stacked as well, and it was just kind of tickling him. Didn't really have any problems tanking those right clicks, and he still has 2 item slots, even 3 to go. And the Tiny, not a hero that does very well versus these tanky heroes like the Timber is. The EGM is mega dead. And detection.
TP trick? Isn't there like a TP trick? Oh, he doesn't have a TP.
Yeah, his TP's on cooldown, so he's dead to rights.
Live! Glimmer Cave! Damn it!
I'm
gonna make you take a while.
But yeah, this Timbersaw is going to start to become a huge problem. It's not going to deal the most damage in fights, as they don't have, like... Actually, I take that back. They have so many disables. He's going to be able to get a chakram off. Walks over the cogs. He's fine.
Walks it off. And again, the pace for EPG. They also have to be, a lot of momentum, just feeling pretty good about the game state right now. And they're going to steal Roshan too. Look at it. He takes over the creep as we talked about. The Helmet and Dominator doing a lot of work here. And they're going to drop it. I mean, they're going to be scattered right here, but they cannot react in time.
Yeah, they rocket it. They're kind of walking over, but it's just like you said, they're not going to be able to do anything. They're way too far away. Left is down bottom, flip pushing, trying to get these lanes out, and they're just going to have to give this Roche up. So Swift ending, going to have a second life. Picking up the Crystallis now as well. Timbersaw will be able to have that cheese or Centaur or Spirit, whoever they give it to. So they are in a very prominent position right now at Alliance. All they can really do is split push out these lanes, look for a potential pick-off with the relocate, a smoke play, finding some hero alone, but I don't know if EPG is going to give them that opportunity, as they always have the Centaur ult to back someone up. And they really, they have the cogs for lockdown, they have the avalanche, but those are not hard stuns. And they're just gonna be able to just run away with the Stampede, the Ags. So I worry for Alliance.
Now Tiny, he does have the AC finish. He actually has another 2,000 gold saved up, so he is actually doing a lot more efficient farming here in these last couple of minutes. Around the corner now. Again, it's not going to be the end-all, but the hook's on initiation. Here comes that straight bottom attack. The Glimmer Cape, though. It will save initially. He says, "Get off me."
Uh-oh, he's dead.
But yeah, the Wisp. The end is near.
Is he gonna try the TP thing? Let's go.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Come back!
Oh, that was close. That was
Radiant's
pretty close. That was like that was a fraction of a second.
Yeah, for those that don't know, you can TP back as you basically have to time it so perfectly, though, as you get relocated back in. So EGM attempting right there.
Radiant's top tower is under
It was
attack.
pretty close. It was a worthy effort, but he doesn't have buyback and he's down for 40 seconds. They're marching towards the high ground. There are other lands for instance. There's no potential to split push from Alliance, which you can sometimes see from a Tiny Wisp. They can port to your base and maybe backdoor, but with the Wisp dead and the Tiny not really in shape to do it on his own, the lane's all the way in. They're gonna have to defend their high ground. And Clinks eats up a creep with his Death Pact and start plinking away.
Well, that Death Slider, of course, going to help that much more. That'll be keep his distance. Clockwork's just going to sort of really zone him out here with some shock. Double chakra, that'll lift if he wants to be able to force tap away from that.
Dire's bottom
He missed
tower
so
is
many
under
times on
attack.
clinks. That was insane.
A little unlucky there.
He, if he had hit one more time, they would have gotten the tier 3. They potentially could have gotten the shrines. He's actually out of mana on Swift Ending. Alliance is going to look to punish this.
Oh, that hook shot almost hit Clinks, actually. That would have been huge. To even take him out and get the Aegis, then who knows what would have happened. But, oh, bottom lane, that's why, because we have to fight down here as EGM. Gonna help keep Loda alive again, the relocate.
Yeah, that was very close. The tether was about to wear out. But able to get him out, so EPG, at the very least, they're going to get this bottom lane in, but Limp, all the meanwhile, immediately books it up the top, shoving this lane in very far. And that's the game Alliance has to play right now. They need to play the split push, the traditional Alliance style, the Wrath, and just try and, use this tiny wisp to trade buildings, potentially keep EPG from playing, getting back. And they have pretty mobile heroes on Alliance. The Shadow Fiend is very, very fast with the Butterfly. They have the Wisp, obviously, that can make play around with the force. Tiny has Blink Dagger, so it's not a free game at all for EPG. It's not a game where they can just walk down a lane for free without any risk of being split pushed. They need to be very methodical about getting these lanes out, not feeding away pickoffs, and then trying to go for a push after that. They didn't even lose the T3 on Alliance as well, so no Shrine's going to be threatened as of now.
Jump up here, but that's Timber Saw. You were not killing him, guys.
Centaur ult's a balanced spell, right, guys?
Ags, Centaur Ultimate. Pretty damn strong. I know people regard that as one of the stronger Ags in the game, especially. Hero himself. Yeah, Centaur really just appears recently. Like, I know, I guess 7.0, there was maybe some changes too that helped with that, but he's just such a core now. After not really being the most popular hero for a while there. Or at least.
Yeah, I think people just realized how insanely strong this Aghanim is. It's a hero that is quite strong in lane. You can do these dual lanes a lot of times. He comes back quite well, has a farming mechanism, which not a lot of offlaners have. Has a very nice stun, a lot of burst damage, and then also has one of the best Aghanims in the game. Has a global Ursa ult for some reason.
But you don't sound bitter.
It's
like, for some reason.
It's fair,
Fair game. Oh, that's a problem. Oh yeah, Shadowpea, by the way, he ends up going Satanic, and this goes back to that 50% lifesteal talent that we mentioned that he had. He does go Satanic still as well. Is that a concern for you, or does it still actually?
Oh, he misclicked BKB.
What have we here?
Oh no, that's
unfortunate.
Oh, what does that put it at now? That's
7 to
6
6.
seconds. Okay.
Yeah, I think. I think you have to buy Satanic on this hero, especially after the Clink's getting the MKB. The Butterfly is basically useless. He actually sold the Butterflies, so sold the Butterfly for the Satanic. So is Hurricane Pike and Manta. It's kind of a low damage build. Having Hurricane Pike and Manta is typically known as a no-no. I think it was okay this game because they were going for that, that second Aegis push where they just walk up a high ground, they end with the Butterfly with the BKB Aegis. But whenever you commit for that, and then now you have this Manta and Hurricane Pike, you can start to run pretty low on damage. Has the Satanic, so it's definitely very tanky. But him being tanky isn't really the issue. It's about, being able to kill EPG before they just storm the supports and bring them down.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
It's in
attack.
shape to do that. I actually have a DD on Clinks. This bottom tower is melting.
Well, and to go to your
Radiant's
point right
bottom
there,
tower
we've
has
been
fallen.
seeing this in this game. Like, you would figure that Alliance, and I'm sure they have picked up on this, but they've
This'll
just
come
been
in handy.
hiding it. They don't
Radiant's
care how
bottom
tanky
tower
it is. They
is
don't
under
even
attack.
go for him in the fight. They just kill their supporting cast. So that's why I'm even more just curious on the decision here by Limp. To go to full
Radiant's
Satanic.
bottom
They're going to try to hold you
tower
at the
has
base. You
fallen.
mentioned the double damagery, though, on Clinks. It's making it very difficult to truly commit. And you also have a Timbersaw sitting in the front line. 21 on silver charges. Hooks on the background. They do catch Clinks, but the Cogs will push him out. That's the intel right there. Stampede finally activated by the Centaur. He's out about half life, but now still sitting. He's going to the auto attacks off. Kills Clockwork. Shadowfiend going right for him in the background. Critical raid's not enough to land, though. Again, he is taking himself though with Shadowfiend, so ends up only still being the kill on Clockwork, but
Oh, those chakrams.
wow, there he is. Right, and they end up killing Wisp. And now Shadowfield's caught. How tanky is he? He pops the Satanic. It's still not enough to stay alive. He has the buyback though. Will he use it right here? Maybe. There we go. He finally uses it. Meanwhile, Timbersaw, he's still up in the front lines. Tiny from a chest. He's going to go down. Triple kill. Coming out for Swift Ending. The buybacks are real. This is it for the hold of Alliance. They are going to eventually hold. More so, EPG will choose to fall back, satisfied with two big buybacks being used.
EPG is playing so well. The way the early game looked, it looked like they were kind of just going to get run over, but we thought their draft had potential as the game went later, and it definitely does. Alliance is in a super rough spot using buybacks on both Limp and Loda. If Limp goes down, then there's almost no way they can defend their base, and now the Timbersaw having an Octarine 4 as well. You can see he just walked up to the high ground, didn't even care. The Shadow Fiend hit them the whole time, and there's just nothing they can do. They don't have a way to kill him. The Tiny needs like 3 more items before they have potential to kill this Timbersaw. He's just unkillable, so they have to kite them, have to bring them the Clinks and reduce their damage, and do some kiting of their own Alliance, but the Clinks almost went down in the last fight, had very low HP. Limp forced in, and then they go back in with the Chakrams. Centaur goes, make sure he doesn't go down. EP just continue to play these fights very well, and Alliance has they have to play extremely well in these fights, almost perfectly to win them. And now with a refresher on Centaur, I don't even know if perfect is good enough.
So that's what I was just about to say, that same statement right there, because it's like Alliance. What can they do? It feels like they've hit that peak, right? We talked about it with the scaling of the items in general, and the heroes really for that matter, especially with Shadow Fiend, especially going this style of build, where he's not necessarily the biggest damage. He was working on Moon Shards, but obviously now that's been delayed because of the buyback. But even with Moon Shards, is he really dealing enough damage? Last fight, no one really got that low other than initially maybe the Clinks, and that was only because they were first initially trying to siege right there. So the double Centaur of those you're talking about with the refresher picked up, even if Alliance plays this quote-unquote perfect play, it still feels like it may just not be enough. Now, EPG mix in a little bit of throw, then perhaps there is an opening, but they're going to need that. I mean, EPG needs to get a little too comfortable, maybe dive the tier 4 towers, and ultimately set up some silly plays that get them.
Oh, they have a DD on Limp. That's something.
Yeah, that definitely is going to excel that damage.
Yeah, that's what they needed. That's a game-winning, that's a game-turning rune potentially. If they could look for some fight with the DD, they were smoked up. I think they were looking to take the Roshan. I don't know if EPG actually sees the DD on SF, so maybe they can take a fight at the base. They're trying to split push. Tiny storms towards the base, and they can definitely rat. We've talked about this is something that they have the capability to do. Wisp Tiny obviously killed buildings in a record time. As EPG walks toward the base, they haven't shown yet Alliance. They don't know they're ratting.
Dire's top barracks are under
attack. Right now. He goes for the melee rack.
Dire's
dead.
are fortified.
Oh, almost.
Fortification. Low port back in. Now can he relocate attack? Kill the Wisp first. Yep, they're going to kill the
on
Wisp.
Tiny.
And now Tiny, he is dead. I mean, he pops a BKB, but that's just going to delay the inevitable right here. A lot of attacks later from Swift Banding. He goes down. A godlike streak for the Clinks. And no buyback on Tiny to top it all off. They didn't even get the melee racks.
Yeah, that was super fast reaction time from EPG. They ported so many heroes in immediately, got right on top of the Wisp. Maybe a little bit greedy from EGM, thought they weren't porting in. I think their plan was to try and cancel TPs with the Clockwork, but they weren't actually able to cancel any TPs, so... What the heck, did Timber die? Oh, he denied himself. Okay, so maybe they went on the Timber, canceled his TP, and tried to bring him down, but he does end up denying himself, so not really the biggest of deals. And with those two heroes going down, no buybacks, EPG is in a super dominant position.
And he has an F-blade he's working on his Timber, so that's when you know luxury is good. Life is good, as finds such a luxury item as the F-blade for the Timber Saw. But yeah, dead for another 45 seconds. And they were already low on damage, not to keep reiterating the negative here, but now with him being dead, and good luck doing enough damage to that Timber Saw. He's just extra
Radiant's
now.
middle tower,
But this is not
Radiant's
the
middle
Tiny
tower
now.
has
Talk
fallen.
about a third of his life or so.
Radiant's middle barracks has fallen. Radiant's middle barracks
Easy
has
rack build
fallen.
middle. Now they go right for the bottom lane. It really just feels like nothing Alliance can do. You have a
Radiant's
lift over
bottom
here.
barracks has
He's just
fallen.
gonna kite the not kite, but finish the creep wave really.
Radiant's
Because
bottom
he's just worried about saving the
has
tier 4
fallen.
towers. They're not necessarily committing towards any kind of fight, but yeah, if you're EPG, you're going right for the mega creeps. Then you kind of let the creep there. And they're gonna say, screw it, we gotta try something in the back of those. Shadow Fiend is jump too, so clock.
That's Megas.
Distraction, the mega creeps have been spawned. And EPG, rather than a fight, why fight? They're just gonna run. A double ultimate comes out from Centaur. Meanwhile, the second stampede, the freezing field is gonna be stopped though, so a little bit of distraction there for the Crystal Maiden. We'll keep them slowed out, but made the racks top level nice.
Yeah, they've roly-poly on out. LeBron actually has a completed AC. I just realized that. Holy cow.
Wow. Okay, he gets caught though, but look at the shot, and he's like, yeah, I'm fine. The moves.
Pop, so Mine's gonna get the Roshan and potentially try for some death ball push towards the throne. I don't know. I think their lineup can defend. Mega creeps for sure. The Shadow Fiend doesn't really care about the creeps being on him. He has a lot of lifesteal.
What?
Yeah, it's
Delaying into what?
it is. It's very very difficult for Alliance. They always have the potential. Whenever you have a tiny wisp, you can never count a team out. As the buildings, you know, EPG makes one misstep, they overextend a little bit. Buybacks are forced out, and then you're in this position where your racks could just get pummeled out of nowhere. So Alliance, I think they're gonna have to play around that. That's really what they need to do. They want to just, you know, wait for EPG to make a mistake. They could just sit around the throne, defend for as long as possible, and it's not easy to walk all the way up to the tier 4s. Even when you're as tanky as this Timbersaw is, you start getting hit on by the tier 4s, the damage slowly adds up, and then suddenly there's a Clockwork on top of you, you're getting hit by the SF, the tiny combos you, and things can start to get a little spooky.
Let's go with some 25s. Haven't done too much of that yet. Shadow Fiend has 150 attack range, pretty typical there. Tiny's actually only 22, so be a while for him. Nobody else on their side is 20. Timbersaw with the 20 strength. You have Blink, so they go to 70 straight attack speed. So, what is it initially?
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Okay, it's 70 more on top, so it was what, 130?
Dire's top barracks has fallen.
Congrats, Timbersaw. Timbersaw's like, it's not a fight, I'll fight. Going in with a shock rip, the Stampede activated, they want to chase.
He may go down. No force staff on the Clockwork. He does have buyback though, so not the biggest deal in the world, but they're definitely going to want to force that out.
Right there for that kill. Tiny goes in. Like he has a chance right here. The Mystic Flare on top of that, but the Glimmer Cape popped in. Cole, he'll run away. He's going, he's pushed every which way again. Death. But now
those
here's
right
Blinks, and yeah, Lona's like, crap, I want to stay away from that. He's going to get caught up in those up. Big heals up though, so he'll survive, and they turn on the center, so the bait is real.
Good ending may go down as well.
Yeah, you want to be careful himself. He pops his DKP though, the 4-staff forward.
Dust caught him.
He's going to be fine. Now, Dust is on him? No, he's good.
Yeah, they lost the gem. Is it on the Centaur?
He's still just having a good time up here. Distracted now. Look at Life's face in the meantime. So they're going to kill Timbersaw. They're going to get LeBron Dota actually. Not too bad, but yeah, see the tier 4s. Are going to stay alive maybe, but it took a bit of damage here.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
Oh, very close. It's healable damage.
Oh my
It's not
God.
unhealable. Grant would be furious. This tower would be dead if it was unhealable.
Wow, it actually lives.
Wow.
Right?
So yeah, that's what Alliance has to do. They can play these fights.
Do that 20 more times. Who knows?
Yeah, and this is sort of one of those scenarios where Alliance, they can't really win if they leave the base. They'll definitely lose a fight if they are fighting, you know, in EPG's territory in places where they have wards. They're actually able to get on top of the Wisp and Skywrath, because you can see they didn't actually die in that fight there. Whenever EPG has to play or back here, you can't really bring them down.
Yeah.
So it's one of those games where if Alliance leaves the base, they can't really win, but if they stay in the base, they can't really lose either. Elegant movements can mean a huge difference.
Alright, so Shadow Fiend agrees that he was lacking damage. He
Rapier?
just bought a Divine Rapier.
Nice!
So, he will have that. What did he sell?
This Hurricane Pike. So actually keeps the Ments. Interesting. I guess he wants the movement speed. The movement speed is pretty nice. Along with the drums, he's moving at 418. I think that actually makes a pretty big difference. I think typically you'd want the Hurricane Pike, but I think the movement speed makes a bigger difference than the 4-staff this game, and the extra attack range. And he does have the 25 talent, so he doesn't miss the attack range too much.
Well, that Divine Rapier, though, that's obviously an item that if we're going to be seeing it. This is definitely a game that calls for it. I mean, Alliance, they are a team that's also known for being a very patient one, and gonna have to do that here. So I know it sounds like I'm being a little bit bitter sometimes. I understand though that Alliance, you know, what else can they do? It's either just go for that ultimate death ball or play this very, very patient game. We saw in that previous fight, as you were mentioning, that they do have a little bit of hope and, you know, eventually maybe get that lucky 1 or 2 picks without a buyback on the other side and then come in for some kind of push and play that Rat Dota, as you suggested, of killing the racks and gonna make it even with Mega Creeps side. But right now, EPG moving on in bottom lane. They do not want to give them a comfortable chance just to sit back here. Double ulti's ready to go for Centaur.
Yeah, no buyback on Clockwork. buybacks. Everybody.
Everyone does. But
No Tiny buyback, no Clockwork buyback, no Skywrath buyback. So
And he does in 700 gold, so he actually has a moon shard on him.
yeah, it's gonna be. I don't think he's gonna be able to build up 700 gold before a fight starts up here. LeBron's actually rolling into the trees. They don't know he's here. I don't think. He has a Hex. Holy crap, he's so far.
Do it with flair.
Just knows what he's doing. He's gonna go in right here. There's that Hex being used right away to Clockwork. Going for the quick kill. Yeah, play new comes out and down goes Clockwork. 76 cooldown. No buyback for him to be had. Meanwhile, the second center ultimate of the Stampede's ready to go. Swift ending. Going at it with his BKB up Limp, but Limp also falls back. You see Tiny clearing out the creep waves in the meantime. Knowing that that's so important. If they're playing two different games, they're playing PvE with the creeps, and they're also playing PvP versus the heroes, making it extra difficult. Now the BKB popped by Tiny. He'll jump in, he misses the avalanche though, and now mid to hook stop, that's also gonna whip. A little bit of misplays on either side. Timberchain in, they get Shadow Fiend, there's that Hex. The nuke on him, he's out about half-life curly. He gets ported back though by the with Tiny not so lucky, he gets cut down, the tier 4's gonna fall, and that could be the beginning of the end for EPG. Are they actually gonna do a defeat Alliance here? It looks like it. Another port out, not gonna be enough. Down goes Shadow Fiend, he has a buyback, but it's too late.
GG.
GG, well played. EPG defeats Alliance.
Victory.
They played so well.
They are both 4-2 now.